This is Things Police See, First-Hand Accounts, with your host, Steve Gould.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Things Police See, First-Hand Accounts. I'm your host, Steve Gould. This is a very special episode. This is Ken Roybal's returned. He's come back. Did you even notice he was gone? I think you did.
Oh no, man.
We're here to address you guys. We missed you guys. I was longing to do a live with Ken. I couldn't even say Ken with me as always, Ken Roybal, because it just isn't true anymore, which saddens my heart. You look good.
Yeah. You know what? The camera's backwards. So if I think I'm going one direction and trying to fix my hoodie, and it's actually going the other direction. So I don't know. I'm trying to make myself not look like a geek. It looks like total geekness, man. Doggone it.
They should have taken care of this in makeup.
That's not right.
Wardrobe.
I did.
So I think in this podcast, we can talk about the big move. We can talk about me getting reinserted into the police life, my recertification. We can talk about vaccine issues in police. We can talk about the Police Applicant podcast, which is a new podcast taking the nation by storm, and the future of TPS. But most of all, Ken and I have been talking, and we missed you guys. We missed this community. Yeah. We missed doing this. It's really difficult to keep doing Cops in the News when you're a cop, because the nation in general is very unforgiving. And Ken and I kind of had a heart-to-heart, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And Ken was like, what you need to do is delete all the Cops in the News episodes. I needed you to say that, because I was being nostalgic about it, and I'm like, I just don't want to. And you're like, you know what? These things are topical. You can make more of them. We can do a podcast, different theme podcast in the future. But just at this season of my life, having them hang around might not be good for me, especially because I can't help myself. With the news Ken was bringing would get me so bothered that I would say things that were mean-spirited, some people would say. And you cannot have a dissenting opinion right now with the ruling political party, because you will be your job will be removed from you. So
unless you're retired like me and basically don't give a crap.
And we talked about that too. And Ken's like, do you think we can do it with me talking the way I talk and then you just being there? Like, I don't know, man. I think I won't be able to. It's gonna be too tempting.
It's guilt by association, man. So Tyler Rooney is here, and let me see.
The Roonster.
Johnston Chris is here. Chris June is here as well. Jaspreet Singh from Canada is here. Stephen Mick can hear me. He says Christopher Strom. Awesome. How awesome is that? Christopher Strom's here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Tristan Ledoux, first live, seeing the mustaches. Everything I had hoped for months of the podcast. So he's listening to the podcast. We disappeared on him, right?
It's months of build up. Now he gets to
see this. Yeah. So we decided we got to do a live. We've been kind of chomping at the bit, but Steve was moving and then your stuff was in storage for a long time, your podcasting equipment. And then you guys weren't even in your house yet.
It was a long trip, man. I thought when we left California, I'm like, we're not going to hit moisture or rain till the Northeast. Wrong. It started raining in Texas, and the system followed us all the way. I had the monitor I use and my podcast equipment in the bed of the truck with our dog, and we're pulling an 18-foot stock trailer. It just wouldn't stop downpouring, and like I'm reaching in the back of the truck. I have a cap on the truck, and I'm feeling the cardboard boxes the podcast equipment's in, and they're like breaking down from moisture. I'm like,
no.
Oh man, I put a lot of money into this gear. I really hope it pulls through. I hope it works when I get home. And then we were at like you said, at my parents' house for a while. Everything was still packed up. It's been a long journey. When we were going through, we stopped and we saw Christine, which was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Christine and her mom were so sweet, and I got to meet some of her family members. Christine's one of 11, so she has a lot of siblings.
11
and her
kids.
mom's a total sweetheart. We pulled in super late. It's like 10:30 p.m. They had a big spread. They had food and everything. You could tell it'd been like, we were supposed to be there at 5, but they kept it going. And it was just so cool. So happy to meet her. And then when we were going through Arkansas, we were at this crappy strip motel. Ken, I'm not joking when I tell you there was some kind of red splatter on the ceiling above my daughter's bed. And my daughter's like, I feel like someone might have killed themselves in this room. She's 11.
No.
I'm like, yeah, what is that? That is terrible. So, it was like $60 for the night. But we got a message from Lisa Gano, and she said, if you guys are going through Little Rock, I'd love to buy you some food, like a meal. So nice and so sweet. But at that point, we literally slept for 3 hours. And we got up and we hit the road and we just plowed through Little Rock, and we were just on a mission to get home because, with what's going on with the pandemic, it's each state's hit or miss. It wasn't like a fun time to travel or to see the country at all. And we have goats with our luggage that are soaked. They're like, kill me.
It reminds me of some kind of movie where you're in the, it's like, it's a perfect thing for a comedy movie where you've got luggage, kids, the goats all in one truck.
Yeah, it was.
And you did something that I hate. You did two things that I hate. One is moving. And the other thing is long road trips for days.
Long haul.
I hate that.
10 hours a day.
Neil Gritch is here. Linda Gelbman is here. Miss Sexy is in the house.
Oh,
William James Long is here.
William.
Carrie Gould is watching again.
She's got a baby, so she's
oh, that's cool.
Off and
Eric
on.
Byro is here. He says, I don't know what I missed more, the live episodes or Ken's mustache.
Dear Lord. Christopher Strom, I got to add him. Brooklyn, New York PD officer that we interviewed. Great book, Brooklyn to Baghdad. And that interview is fantastic. He did such a good job, and it's so insightful. And if you want to get insight to the overseas contracting and the military and what's going on and doing investigations in the Middle East. I mean, he sent you a signed copy too, right, Ken? Of his book? Yeah. Just a stand-up guy, just a great dude. And man, he's balls of steel. The guy did all these years at NYPD and was like, I'd like to go overseas and interrogate terrorists. Crazy episode. So honored to have him here with us.
Yeah, sure. Get over to the podcast, guys. If you haven't listened to it and you want to catch up on some stuff, listen to Chris Strom's interview with Steve. It's really good. And his book's on Amazon. It's called From Brooklyn to Baghdad. And my wife is I think she's closing in on the end of it, but she says it's a good book. So you've got two ways to hook up with what Chris was doing out there. Stephen Mick says it was one of the best interviews you've done, and his book is on the list. William James Long liked it too. I got to tell you something. I was talking to William. William called me.
Love me some William.
And it was before you had even gotten your stuff out of storage, your podcast stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes, podcast. When are you guys going to be back? And we didn't know. I wasn't able to say what the plan was because of your new job and everything. And it wasn't my place to say, we're going to cancel the police in the news segments just because of the political hot stuff it is.
Right.
And I'm on the phone with William, and he goes, Are you and Steve good? I go, what do you mean? I mean, are you guys still friends or whatever he says? Yeah, I go, yeah, no, man, we're
yeah,
so
we're good.
I think people were going, did they break up or what happened?
They had to break up. No, we were in contact when we were going across the country. And Kim was like, "Oh, I don't envy you. That sounds terrible."
No, but I do want to mention the new things that's going on with me because, as you guys may have noticed, I have a new hat. It's my Warrior 12. Warrior 12 gear is super cool stuff. That and Relentless Defender. There's lots of, and the Warrior 12, the 12 means it stands for cops. So they back law enforcement and stuff.
Very
and
cool.
And then I'm looking right on my desk. I have my Steve Jr. Rode Podcaster Pro podcast gear.
Oh yeah.
My kids got me a brand new Shure SM7B microphone for Christmas.
It's nice.
Because Steve didn't tell me. After all, I spent $1,000 or more on equipment. Then Steve goes, "Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do the podcast anymore." I'm like, "What?" I put all this gear. So fortunately, I started with Christine Roof. We started the Police Applicant podcast. Oh, there it is, right there. So we're having a lot good time. We are in episode number 4. We've just published today, episode number 4.
And you already have like a dozen 5-star reviews, which is great.
Yeah. We got 5-star reviews. Are doing good. So this equipment came in handy right at the right time. So that's kind of cool.
Well, I knew in my heart, and I told you shouldn't stop podcasting. I mean, you have a gift for it. You're good at interviewing people. You're good at production. So I knew Ken was going to do something. So that's how I hide my guilt. So, but yeah, the podcast, I listened to episode 4 today in the cruiser when I was working. Great podcast. It's really interesting. I worked backgrounds with Ken, for just under 2 years. And, it's funny when I was listening to you guys today, I was driving around and like, just as I wanted to ask a question, I'm like, somebody asked this, you or Christine would ask the question. I was like, yes, thank you. Cause, who doesn't want to get a polygraph expert on the hot seat? This is their last episode. They got one of the nation's polygraph experts on there, because who knows anything about the freaking polygraph except that it's terrifying, and they're going to read they're going to look inside your soul and put that out for everybody. And it was just super interesting. So you're doing great things over there, Ken, and I'm super, super happy to listen to you guys. And I feel like, I wish it was live, because I want to do a call-in when you guys are chatting. I'm like, oh, let me call in. Let me say something.
We're going to do some lives as well. We're all set up for that too. But what I think everybody's really interested in is Steve's back he's in a police uniform, and he's out there, enforcing the law in his, is it a township or something like that? Mm-hmm. And you're in a pretty interesting little spot as far as how they do police work and all that stuff. Yeah,
I'm in a very rural part of Massachusetts, and I'm learning that it's much different than the East Coast of Massachusetts, and the western part of Massachusetts do policing completely different, because it's just way different demographics, way different population. So like when I sign on duty now, there could be 25 cops on the dispatch board that I'm looking at, and it's 15 different towns. So it's one county, 15 towns with like 20 to 25 cops. So I have a town of, 30 square miles. I'm the only one on there. And the towns around me are similar. And then there's some bigger towns. And then your backup is kind of the other town. And backup is always where it's much slower and quieter. But when there's a domestic or something bad, your backup's always like 20, 30 minutes away. So it's way different. Rural policing is way different. I'm really enjoying it. But it's way different. We have reserve police officers, and we had them in the eastern part of Mass, but oftentimes you would find reserve police officers, Ken, and you can probably relate, would be like, they would do prisoner watch or transport, or they might direct traffic, or they would be with a full-time person. Where I am, they run shifts alone. So you can have a reserve officer, full-blown police power, full-blown responsibility out there in the community. And the huge thing now, Ken, you'll think this is interesting, 48 states are post-certified. Do you know one of the states that isn't post-certified?
Massachusetts?
Yeah.
So, how can you not be post-certified?
So they've been avoiding it for years because of the money. It costs a lot of money to be post-certified. And the western part of Massachusetts has been getting by letting reserves patrol full-time. There's a thing called an administrative chief, where the chief doesn't have police powers, but he has administrative powers. So you can have someone be the chief of police that isn't sworn. It is, Massachusetts is very old the way it's set up, the Commonwealth, and each and every town has its own chief and own police force, even if it's one person, and even if that person's part-time. So, and if they want help, they contract and request the state police. So, because of police reform and what's going on nationally, the legislatures decided, well, all these other states are post-certified. They're being held accountable for their training and for what they do and how they staff and the minimum manning and all that. Well, now, granted, Massachusetts has had no national issues with any kind of issue policing. And our police academy is one of the most robust and longest for hours in training. But because of police reform, they decided we're going to go post. So the conservative estimates is 30 to 40 million to establish post in Massachusetts, because all these reserves and full-time cops are now going to have to be certified get a post certification, and so will the departments. And with that comes auditing and accountability. So these little towns that have been skating by on just having whoever be the chief of police with his brother being the deputy or whatever, that's over. Like, you can't go years without qualifying on your firearm anymore. Ken, there's towns out here I work with that have not qualified on their guns in years.
There's no standards.
Years. There's no standards. So, like, when you get the eastern part of the state, like where I was and where some larger agencies are, you qualify twice a year. There's training, there's qualification, there's judgment shooting, all the stuff that they recommend nationally. But in the western part, they're like, well, yeah, we know you're recommending that, but there's no enforceable standards from the state, and we can't afford it. So we ain't doing that. So enter Steve Gould. Post is being established July 1st. I get hired just in time to become certified and get back in. Because if I came here after July 1st, it would be impossible to get back.
Oh, man.
So,
and Chris June is asking, what is post?
Police officers' standards and training. So it's a system that holds police accountable for everything from your time card to firearms training to in-service training, hours you have to do a year. It's all documented, and they audit it. They hold you accountable. They will pick agencies every year, and they will send. I mean, when Ken and I worked backgrounds, we had 2 background investigators assigned to audit us internally, so that when post came, there wasn't an issue. None of these agencies have money for this in Western Mass. So reserve officers have been given an option, Ken. They're like, you can stay on as a reserve. You need to do a 600-hour makeup academy.
Oh, no.
And these are plumbers, builders, machinists, like just guys that don't mind volunteering to work shifts in town. And now they're telling them, well, you need to do a 600-hour class. By the way, the town can't afford to pay for it. So,
oh my gosh, 600 hours.
600 hours because Massachusetts Police Academy certified officers are over 800 hours. So the part-time academy is 200. We're going to add a 600-hour part to it, and then you'll be a certified Mass post police officer.
Yeah.
No one's going to do that.
When you get off probation, the post certificate, you get your post certificate, which is your license to police.
Right.
And so if you don't have your post certification, you cannot be a police officer in a post certified state. And Massachusetts appears to be almost like the Wild Wild West, and they don't need certificates. And you just give a gun to whoever.
No, it is. I mean, it really is, Ken. When I went through firearms training school to be an instructor, they were like, hey, this state is just decided by case law. So
as we go.
So no, yeah. So Brockton, I think it was Brockton, the case we studied, they had a shooting at nighttime. And the defense attorney said, do you guys shoot at nighttime? Do you qualify in low light? No. Why not? We don't have it in the budget. Well, how much of your police department works at night? 2/3. Okay, so 2/3 of your police department works at night, but you don't shoot your guns at night. Correct. Okay, we're going to award $10 million to this family who a stray bullet at nighttime hit their daughter in the leg because the courts ruled right there that your budgetary issues do not supersede what your training should be.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been a long time coming. Like that case was 30 years ago. So they've just been dodging this bullet forever. So in other words, I got reinserted at an interesting time where my boss now, my chief's good guy, really good guy. And these chiefs are just basically saying like, we're going to need help. Like we can't post-certify a department alone. Like we need everybody's going to have to help with this because if we want our police department to survive, we need to get this done because post doesn't screw around. They will suspend your certification personally, and they will suspend your certification as a department. So if your department gets suspended, you can't police. So goodbye to your town police department, and you're going to have to apply to the state police to have a roving patrol. And the state police, they don't patrol your town. In Massachusetts, they will just respond to emergencies. So it's not like they're going to like provide any kind of service. They will just come there if you call 911. So it's a whole wang dangler, Ken.
A whole wang dangler. Hey, Motor Cop Chronicles podcast is here. Django Chang is in the house. Jim Gibson says it's good to see you guys together again.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see here. Yeah. So Stephen Gould, Dex Imus has a question.
Oh. Let me see. He said, well,
an interesting question.
Do the Mass State Police have reservists? Oh, hell no. No. They do not. No reservists in the state police.
Is that reserve officers?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't
There's no reserve officers in the state police.
No.
Yeah, that would I don't think any like the state troopers. I don't think they have those for some reason.
No, I know California has reserves, but they go to the full academy. They're not. I mean, like you said, you need a license to practice as a police officer, and there's no like shortcut. You just have to do the academy.
Yeah.
And Motor Cop Chronicles, I'm going to have him on the podcast soon. Actually, he says 40. That's what Massachusetts is right now. 40 hours a year.
Oh, per year.
So Ken, I get hired, and the chief goes, "You need to make up every single minute you missed of in-service training since you were gone." I'm like, "Oh, jeez." I go, "That's 4 years." He's like, "It's 160 hours you need to make up to be certified." I'm like, so what this guy's been doing is I sign on, take a trip around town, I get a coffee, maybe I stop a car, then I go back to the office, and I just go to school. I'm just watching movies and taking exams, and I am proud to say, since I started at the beginning of January, I am completely caught up from 2016 to 2020.
Wow.
So I've passed all the exams, taken all the tests, watched all the videos, and now I have to do 2021. So I'm trying to get it done before Post gets their hands on the state, because I have a feeling they'll just kick me out.
Your situation is kind of interesting because when you're on patrol at night, you're the only guy, right? And then you have to get backup from other towns.
Yes.
So you're the only police officer in that city.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep.
And then you go, like, you guys share a radio frequency with the other cities, and then you'll back them up?
The whole county. Yep. The county that I'm in, we share a frequency, and there's troopers on there. There's all the other towns and cities, and yeah, like you just got to keep an ear out. Like I go to this town next to me more often than I go to calls in my town, because they have like 3 times the population we have, and they have a bunch of like Section 8 housing apartments, which is like low income stuff.
Yes.
So they'll routinely send one man to domestics, fights, mental health crisis. And so I'm like, I always come on the radio. I'm like, I'm headed that way because there's no way one person should be going to this alone. And it's been fine, but I guess it's all what you're used to. When I'm used to a minimum 2-man response. When it's just one guy with his ass in the wind, you have to go. Like, you can't not go. Like, it's been like 11:50 before, and I'm about to go off shift, and something will go off in another town, and I'm like, damn it, I'm coming over.
Jim Gibson's asking if the state police back you up.
They do. Yeah, I went to a domestic actually, and a trooper showed up. So yeah, they'll definitely back you up. They're
That's trippy.
But they have a vast territory, so they could be there in 5 minutes, or they could be there. And I think the trooper showed up to my domestic after 25 minutes.
Django Chang is not having anything to do with this one-man car backing up from other agencies.
It's the country, son.
The country. So, but you're having a pretty decent, good time. And you guys didn't notice anything about Steve here? He has his patrol goatee, and his flaming red beard is gone. Is that preference, or you just can't have a beard?
No, I just like this. This is my I like the relief pitcher look. Yeah, I'm at a department where it's awesome. You can have facial hair. We wear tactical outer carriers. So all the weaving, you can put all your stuff on your vest. And the chief just said, it's hard to get guys to hang at a department like a country department. So everything they can do to make you comfortable, they do. And I said, hey, I'm all about it. Love the beard.
Josiah Young says PTGT, patrol goatee. That's your patrol goatee.
It is.
Anthony Parada says, we get in trouble if less than 2 of us respond to a call. But you don't have that situation where you have the luxury of your backup just shows up if they decide to show up or they're available, right?
Yeah, like if it's bad, if you show up and it's noticeably bad, screaming and whatever, you just call for it. You just say, I need backup. And it's funny. There was a call the other night, Ken, and this was funny. I don't know how this happened. So I'm listening to the radio, and there's a foot pursuit. They go to pull a car over in a nearby town, and the kid crashes in front of someone's front lawn and bails. He just runs. He's running. You can tell by the cop, he's chasing him. He's out of breath, and he's over here. I think he's gone east. He's gone west. He's down by the river. Mm-hmm. So he's chasing him. Other cops get involved. Other towns come in. And then out of nowhere, dispatch is like, do you want the air wing? And the kid's like, okay. So the state police air wing this is for suspended operation, Ken. A suspended license. The freaking state police air wing chases this kid down in the woods.
That's funny.
I said, damn, they must have needed some flight hours or something, because usually you're not getting a bird up for that.
Oh, funny. Django had a question for you. How many radio calls do you handle a shift? And then Sarah has a comment as well.
Oh, it's super slow, dude. I mean, most arrests and things like that come from your own motor vehicle stuff. You can go a week with 3 calls, 4 calls.
A week?
A week. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's days where you'll get 3 or 4 in one day, but those are few and far between. You usually will get a call 3 or 4 a week. I'm told it's different. I'm near a college town that has a huge population. I'm told when school's in session fully, it's much different. But right now with COVID, there just ain't no reason for someone to be driving around up there.
Man, oh man, oh man. That's that would not be fun for me. So Django, how do you like that? 4 calls per week. And then Sarah had a comment that she made too. I don't know if you want to put
Sarah,
that.
Where's Sarah? Oh, the big long one here.
Yeah.
This makes so much sense. My brother in Oxford, Mass, keeps telling me I'm taking the applicant process too serious based on how many people he knows who are police in Massachusetts.
Oh yeah.
She looks ripped. Look at that bicep. Oh my goodness.
Look at that bicep, Sarah. Yeah, police work on the West Coast versus small towns is much, much different.
Oh yeah, we're talking rural police. I mean, there's no polygraph. I think it's illegal in Massachusetts to have an employment polygraph. It's not legal.
Even for police.
Yeah, you can't have one. So that's one whole thing, one whole stressor just cut completely out. So I don't know if they'll try to change that with post or not. But right now you can't have a poly.
In California, I believe the poly is not required by post. It's up to the department.
Oh, really?
Okay. Jim Gibson says in a small rural town he grew up in, Massachusetts only had 2 on the whole department, 24/7, 2 police officers.
Well, we got 3 brothers, so we're rolling deep.
Dax Imus asking you if you have 12-hour shifts.
I do. I work at 12, 2 10s, and an 8.
Jeffrey Lee says, fellas, missed you guys. Steve, glad you're back in the saddle. Be safe out. Be safe out. Stay focused from South Dakota.
Oh, yeah. Jeffrey Lee.
South Dakota. Man.
That was a fun
Django Chang says he does 12 to 15 calls per day.
Working you too hard, man. Come out to Massachusetts, brother.
Yeah. William James Long wants to know what kind of patrol car you drive.
It is a Ford Explorer, all-wheel drive.
All-wheel. Hey, man, what's been going? Because you guys got some snow out there. What's it like doing police work in the middle of winter, the dead of winter?
All of our cruisers in the area are pretty much Ford Explorer all-wheel drive. So it's just you can't.
It's cold.
Half the town's roads I work in are dirt. So
cold, Steve,
and it's so freaking cold, Ken. That. We went to a domestic I'm talking the sticks, Ken. This thing looked one step above a sugar shack where they collect the syrup to boil down maple syrup. I mean, plywood walls, just bare. He had all kind of anti-intrusion bars on the windows, like crazy stuff. Anyways, it's like 15 and he'll only talk to us through the window. And I'm like, I just gotten back from California like weeks before. So I'm like, I'm visibly shaking, like so cold. We're out there for 40 minutes talking with this guy.
Gosh.
It was a long story. He had a security door in his house that malfunctioned, and he locked the woman outside in the freezing cold in her bathrobe, and he was locked inside. And he couldn't get the door open. So through all this talking, I ended up kicking his door in. So I go, I'm going to kick your door in. And then the other officer I'm with, this is like my second call I've ever been into. So this officer from another town's back in his office goes, Steve, can I help you out here? I want you to tell us right now with witnesses that you're giving Officer Gould permission to kick your door in, that you will not hold him or the town accountable for any damage that is done. And he goes, I won't hold anybody accountable. I'm like, thank you very much. So I have to kick the door into this. Oh my gosh. Who knows what kind of weaponry that guy had in there. But yeah, Ken, it was 15 degrees and I was shaking like a leaf. I was frozen.
So you guys kind of, you learn the law as you go then, huh? Or not the law, but like policies or what you're going to do just kind of on the fly.
Yeah. You just do what you think is right at the time.
You don't have a TO, right?
No. I'm the TO. I've been on break for 4 years.
You're the most senior guy there.
Yep.
Man, well, it doesn't sound like something I would enjoy.
It's funny because I've been enjoying it.
You've been enjoying this. Fun, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't have to worry about getting into in any trouble, I guess. There's not too much going on there.
No, it's pretty good. I mean, as long as we hang on to qualified immunity in mass, and that's one thing that, man, my friends who are of the left persuasion don't have a good grasp of what that is. They should Google it. Qualified immunity is like it's they don't just give it out to every situation. That's scrutinized. Like a qualified immunity is looked at by the court and decided upon case by case. And it's there so police officers can do their job in a split second without worrying about losing their house. I mean, that's what it's there for. People have this idea that qualified immunity is just this shield where you can just kill people carte blanche and it's okay. But that's not what it is. It's not what it is. It's set up because it was so needed. So we could do our job. So we could do our job without fear. If you're acting in, reasonably, as a reasonable person would act, and you're acting in good faith, and you didn't have malice, you shouldn't get in trouble. I mean, these are emergency situations. It should be okay. But I can just tell by my Facebook feed that people don't understand that. And people like Tom Brady can. He's now signed that qualified immunity nationally should be revoked. Yeah. He's a longtime friend of the police in Massachusetts. Was a longtime friend.
Well, are we getting into a political discussion? Because I
told you not to lead me down this road. Why are you doing this to me?
I'm
trying to get me fired so we do the podcast again. I know it.
So I'm gonna go ahead and reel you in, Steve, because I can see you going down that road of.
You knew this would happen.
You guys, we got to keep Steve accountable. He's on the job now, and he can't be talking about.
I know
a lot of this political stuff. So we've got to talk about things like, for instance, Bob Cabayer's here.
Bob.
And he says that Bob is officially in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Academy, 1 month in training so far.
Whoa.
And they had their first drill class today.
That's
push-ups
sick.
In the puddles. Oh, dude, there were 30. What is this?
Somebody translate that for us.
They're minus 34 degrees centigrade. What is that in
Siri,
in America?
What is negative 34 centigrade?
We're finding out.
I'm going to find out. Hold on. Oh, give me a chart. Damn. I don't know what that means. Hey, Siri, what is negative 34 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
There you go.
Oh, damn. It's negative 29 degrees.
Oh, my gosh. So you guys pray for Bob Cabayer. They're doing push-ups at the academy in Canada, negative 29 degrees.
Don't your arms just snap off when you do that?
It freeze up, man. Oh my gosh, that's nuts. Well, congratulations on getting in the academy, and the RCMP's no joke, man. I saw a video of RCMP. They're serious. They're super serious, and you don't just get in. You don't just get hired by them.
They're cool.
They are very, very particular. So congratulations.
Yeah, hook me up with an interview, Bob. Come on, brother.
Bob, come on. Hook him up with an interview for the podcast.
Come on, dude.
Anthony Perota says, since you're on a smaller department, do you guys have MDCs in the car?
We actually do. We have right now we have Tough Books, Panasonic Tough Books, I think, and we're getting upgraded to mobile data terminals. I think that's what he's saying, MDCs. So yeah, the kick in the old beanbag is there's no cell reception in town, so you can only use your car computer about 20% of the time.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You don't. So it doesn't work. The MDC, what do they call them? MDCs or whatever?
Yeah, like if you've ever written me a text message and I wrote back like 4 hours later or 6 hours or 8 hours, that's because I'm working and literally have no reception.
So what are they good for?
They're good for when you have reception.
What are your radios pretty good? Like when you're going into a town that's far away and you get good reception on your radios? Yeah, in the car, they're pretty good. The portables are garbage. When I'm out of the car, dispatch could be calling me like crazy, and I just hear like, I'm like,
Are they calling me or another town? I have no idea. And then they'll call me on my cell phone if they can't get me the radio, and they'll be like, "We're calling you." I'm like, sorry, my radios don't work. So there's some there's some major delays in dispatching to calls in some cases.
Well, Motor Cop Chronicles says you should get a satellite phone.
What am I, P. Diddy? I'm going to have a satellite phone. I don't have that kind of money.
Get one. You need to have one, man. When I see, and Josiah was telling me, was saying what an MDC is, a mobile data computer. And when I was working patrol way in the back long days ago, we used to write down our calls on a notepad in the car. And then we got MDTs, which was a free form. It was like DOS. So if you wanted to, you had to put a command in.
Terminator 2 has LAPD, and they have like the little screen. Yes.
And you weren't able to just punch something. You had to put the command in. And then once you put the command in to run somebody, run a car, whatever, you had to put the command. And if you didn't put it in exactly the way it went, it wasn't going to work. So, and I left patrol in 97, and I think there wasn't anything spectacularly different in the MDTs. So nowadays, with all the stuff they got going on now in the cars, I don't even have a clue what's in those cars. But you guys can talk to the moon and all kinds of stuff on your police cars.
When they're working, they're incredible. You can do everything yourself. You don't have to bother dispatch. But Ken, you posted a while ago a picture of when you worked. I think you did every job at LAPD, but at one point you worked dispatch or 911, and there was literally a conveyor belt with cards on it that would come down, and the dispatcher would pick up the card, and you know what I mean? It was like, wow, what an operation, and I'm sure that was like height of the technology of innovation then. If LA was doing it, that was like the biggest thing.
So if you guys ever watch, if there's any Adam 12 fans out there, the old Adam 12 will open with there's police officers sitting at a console in a horseshoe type configuration. And then they have these little headsets on, and then you'll see a card go flying down the conveyor belt. That's what we used to do. We used to take the calls on a rotary dial telephone, Steve. Rotary dial. And then we would have these cards, and one would be white, which was a no code call. A blue would be a code 2, and a pink card with code free. And so we would get calls, and say, for instance, it was a no code, we would circle 415 man at the business, and then we'd put it in the conveyor belt, and it would go into the radio room. And then if it was a code 3 call with a pink card, we would get that, like shots fired, someone's down, robbery in progress. It was code 3. We would unplug our headset from the console. We would take our pink card and run to the radio room and give it to the police officer at the time, and give them the call. And then they would say all frequencies and stand by in 3 Adam 12 or whatever it was. And they would put the call out.
I have actually a picture from Ken's early career here.
That may be a little bit before my time, but yeah, it's very similar. So if you guys ever catch Adam 12, that's what we used to do. And I was operator 302.
Very cool.
But, yeah, back in the back days, that was before 911. There was no 911. You had to call the 213 number, the area code for that part of the city that you were in. And it was rotary dial telephones. I don't know if you guys have watched any old movies, but man, that telephone with the little circle dial, and you put your finger in the holes, and you're trying to call the police, but you're dialing. Imagine you're at home, instead of dialing 911, you're dialing 2 1 3.
It's
and
crazy.
then the entire number.
It's great, Ken. Growing up, I had friends whose families had rotary, because it was, believe it or not, it was $2 more for tone. And my friends' fathers were like, I'm not paying $2 more. I'll keep the rotary phone. And like, I remember going to their house and being like, oh, let me call my house. It would literally take a minute to dial your home on a freaking rotary phone.
William Dabrowski's here. Good friend from California. Jeffrey Lee says, Ken, you guys used to have to call dispatch from a payphone or what? Interestingly enough, if anyone's ever seen in the old movies, they were Gamewell boxes or call boxes. You remember seeing?
I remember hearing those
movies. We had a key. It was a Gamewell key, and we would stop off at the corner, and we'd put our key in the call box. We'd open the call box, and there would be a phone in there, and we'd pick up the phone, and depending on what part of the station you wanted to connect with, it says call the watch commander, and we'd hit the two-digit thing on the phone, and we'd talk to the watch commander from there. We didn't call from payphones. We would use police call boxes, and I still have my Gamewell key. It's this maybe a gold one about this size, and it's got the big round head, and then the little like skeleton key. It looks like a skeleton key.
Wow.
And, that's how we used to call the station.
That's cool.
Bob Cabert asked Steve. Bob Cabert is from Canada, so he calls you Steven.
Oh, very formal.
Do you have to ask Siri to give you a check on plates too? Hello, Siri.
Probably be faster than my MDT. That's for sure.
Yeah. Jeffrey Lee says back when cops were cops, running double action revolvers and speed loaders. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Revolvers, speed loaders, big time. I kept my revolver up until 2000.
I love it. Did you give it to your son? Is that right?
I still have it. It's going to be his, but
okay.
I still have it. I bought it when I left the department. They offered me to buy it, and so I bought my revolver, my 4-inch revolver, for I think it was $58.
That's excellent.
$58.
So it looks like the UK didn't change until the mid 1980s. Same method.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. I mean, there places around here, the cities had call boxes, and you could also, it was in the policies that you could use you could fire a round to signal you needed help.
Oh, geez.
And that in the Northeast, that policy survived till like just recently in some departments where you could literally fire in the air for help. I mean, if you think about it, in the 1800s in like New Bedford, that big whaling city, if a constable needed help and was desperate, there's no call boxes, he could fire his gun and it would draw attention. They deemed that to be like appropriate if it was life or death. So
you should still be able to do that.
I think I still do it. Sometimes I wake up middle of the night and just go out in the street and fire around.
Steve, I would like to say I have a really good conservative joke regarding shooting warning shots, but I'm not going to say it.
Is it going to get me going? Am I going to get started?
Probably. Maybe. Maybe. So, yeah. So, I mean, you're liking it out. It was a good move for you to move to Mass, and it's where you belong.
Yeah. We love it. We even love the winter. We love everything. We feel super, super blessed and happy to be here. And, yeah, we're just super happy, man. I have right over here, there's a pellet stove in my basement. You can see this foam stuff, this yellow stuff here. It's closed cell foam, my whole basement. And then our pellet stove heats up the basement. There's like a living room down here for the kids to use. And I have my gun safe. And it's just, it's my little northern sanctuary, you know?
Yeah.
If you come visit, we'll keep you warm, I promise.
Well, just one question. What's the scariest call you've ever gone on? No, it's not playing. That's one of Steve's podcast questions. But how are you guys doing out there in fan land? Have you been missing Steve's beard and everything and hearing his sultry, silky voice on the podcast? Have you missed that, guys, pretty much?
I have some people scheduled. I actually had a guy, agent, reach out. He has a show on Discovery Channel. He's a LAPD retired guy.
Ooh,
we still need to talk about it
Channel.
off the air. I got to run him by you, but he's got a channel. He's got a show on Discovery and he wants to come on. I think he has a book coming out or something, but, I'm going to run upstairs for a second. And, can I
leave me with the podcast?
Can I put the timer on, or do you want to, entertain questions?
I'll entertain questions here, boy. Okay. You're doing that.
I'll be right back.
Be right back. Steve's going to come right back, guys. We're here for a commercial break. So do you have any questions or anything? Carrie Gould is back. Yeah, I know, Jim. I know. Massachusetts. You would know, Jim, about Massachusetts. They don't line up. Let me see how they would say it at Disney. They don't line up with our philosophy or whatever it is that they say. Massachusetts does not line up with the TPS philosophy, so we're not able to do that podcast anymore. And William James Long did bring up a very good thing that he noticed is that, unfortunately, I told Steve, I said, you have to take the podcast, the Things Police in the News podcast, off of the website. So if you go there you want to hear some old Steve and Ken rapport, you will not be able to hear it, because I told them take it off because they can use that against you. If anybody wants to bring up, back in 2019 or whatever, Steve was hanging out with Ken and he said this. So unfortunately, in today's society, you really can't do that anymore. So unfortunately, we had to. Oh, look at that! I was right in the middle of talking about scrubbing. You had to scrub. Oh, you're not even your headset. We'll wait till he gets his headset on there. So, Steven, here we go. There we are. I was out in the middle of telling them that we had to scrub the TPS Cops in the News episodes.
Yeah, it was probably the right move. Ken had to tell me to do it because I didn't have the strength to do it myself.
I had to do it. Steve was chomping at the bit to get to talk to you guys, and he missed you. And I mean, I missed you too, but I was just going by what Steve told me. I was heartbroken for a long time.
Yeah, Ken was like, I would call, and then there'd just be like the soft weeping, and then he would hang up. I was like, Ken, I'll try again tomorrow. But I think either we can start Cops in the News again once I don't know, maybe not. But we can come up with something else, Ken. We can come up with something else.
Well, you know what? Steve and I were talking, and I don't think I'm letting anything out of the bag here. But Steve and I were talking because we have a pretty good rapport, and we were thinking we could do a podcast, not Cops in the News, but something else that's not so controversial, and just talk about something. But we have to come up with what would we podcast about? So we could do that. That would be fun.
What about the liberal traders in our country? No. Sorry. Okay. You're going to have to come up with it, Ken, on your own, and then just tell me what we're doing.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. So if we think about something, you guys, and you can even let Steve know, but just we could actually do a podcast, but it wouldn't be political, and it probably wouldn't be police, and it probably wouldn't be things that set Steve off.
So we can talk about maybe like fishing
or quilting.
Quilting. Ken, we actually got contacted today by a Hollywood producer looking to get in touch with one of our guests.
You guys, and I looked at the resume for this company, and this is a big production company. They do all kinds of stuff. And I think he wanted to contact one of the guests for
one of his cases.
Maybe a documentary or something like that. So we're pretty connected.
No big whoop. I got to tell you, Ken, before we sign off, I have microphone envy. You have see the microphone I have, guys. Let me explain this. It's like they say it's like the gold standard for podcasting, but that's only because it's more affordable than Ken's Shure SM7B or whatever it's called.
SM7B.
He's got the microphone that like Joe Rogan uses. All these fancy pantses.
And it was our it's funny because during Christmas time, the kids were saying, "What do you want for Christmas, Dad?" I don't know. You know what? I want this microphone because Steve endorses this microphone. So I sent them a link to Amazon for this one microphone. It was really cool. It was one of those retro 50s microphones, the one that like Elvis used, the round one.
Yeah.
And it had the fins on it and all this. I go, that looks so cool. And it got good reviews. And it wasn't incredibly priced. And then Christmas comes along, Christmas morning, and I open the box, and man, this one was in there. And I'm going, it wasn't my pretty blue one. But I open it, I go, oh, it's an SM7B.
Yeah,
And I opened it, man. This is like the premier microphone for musicians and stuff like that. And so I was really happy about it. And I hope I sound good to you guys because
silky
and then
smooth.
I got my Rode Procaster Pro. I'm a little Steve. I'm a little Steve now, guys. So I'm ready for podcasting.
It is that is a sweet mic, and it's been around forever. And Ken, is that how long it takes for your kids to like finally get you a gift that you really, really love? Like you have to be like 60?
Well, when it's funny. It's kind of one of those things where your kids, by the time your kids are old enough to really spend some money on you on some pricey stuff, you've already got everything you want.
Right. So this was really, that's why this gift is so amazing. Not only is it something really cool, but you didn't even know you needed and or wanted it, but it is exactly one of two mics I would have suggested you get. I would have said get the Heil PR40, or I would have said get the Shure. And they got you the better of the two. I mean, you did some good parenting there, buddy.
My kids like me,
so
I was very happy about that. Motor Cop Chronicles podcast, he brings up a very good point. You'll notice he has no name on his
he's anonymous
podcast. He's anonymous, and William James Long thinks we should do a gun podcast. Cooking. Karen Kincaid says we should do a cooking podcast.
I like it. Chris Jr., are you planning on continuing Gould's Gaining Ground? Actually, we are going to do some videos. We just want to, when we restarted that channel, we told ourselves, I don't want to do like a vlogging channel. I want to do it only if it's in relation to like homestead stuff. And we stopped doing that. So, but we're rebuilding. So I think we're going to do some videos. And for example, Ken, know what we did yesterday for the first time ever?
No.
We tapped maple trees for sap, for scissor.
So it's the actual syrup that comes out?
Yeah. Well, you drill a hole and then you tap in a little thing and attach a little rubber hose that goes down to a bucket. And then you only need 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup.
40 gallons.
And you have to boil it for like 2 days.
And it's just a little tube that you put in the tree and it just comes out.
Yeah, they say it like when it gets cold out, the sap, or at nighttime the sap goes down on the roots, and then day when it warms up, the sap travels up the tree and it just literally pours out of the tree.
Wow. And
then you have to boil it forever and ever. That's why maple syrup's so expensive, because it takes 40 gallons to make 1 gallon.
Oh my gosh.
But
so it's easier to go to the store.
Oh yeah, and probably like more cost effective too, because the amount of propane I'm going to burn boiling is probably going to be more expensive than just buying syrup.
$500 gallon of syrup.
Right. You each get 1 drop per pancake.
And everybody that's on Instagram, I believe, Gould's Gaining Ground has a new Instagram page, right? Stop drinking while I'm talking.
Yeah, it has one on there. Carrie kind of manages / mismanages it.
Oh,
Carrie.
Well, she's watching, so she might have heard that.
I know.
Kurt Reese from Okinawa is watching. He says, you guys are like Tango and Cash, Riggs and Murtaugh, Frank Bullitt and his Mustang. Good to see you guys again. Kurt Reese out there in Okinawa. Kurt, are you with the USMC serving? Kind of curious about it. I think there's a Marine Corps base out there.
God bless you.
I
think he sent me a picture of an Okinawan police cruiser.
Oh, wow.
If I just talk really slowly, it will buy me time to get to
Kurt Reese is a former Marine. There we go.
Picture. Oh, damn it, Kurt. I don't know where it is. I'm not.
Kurt, where's the picture?
I'm not like
an Okinawa. It's a police car.
I'm not tooting my own horn here, but we get a lot of messages, Ken, and I'm really.
I get messages for you. I get messages for things police see, and I have to forward them.
Ken,
I don't know how to get my. How do they get my email address?
I was testing Oh, here we go. So Christine and I was testing my connection with Christine the other night. We were talking about Ken and all good stuff. We were saying like, I said, if I really want to give myself some accountability, I'll tell Ken about it, because he's the kind of guy that tells you he's going to do something, then he actually does it. And then if you tell him you're going to do something, he expects you to do it.
I expect you to do it.
And it's kind of refreshing, because in the world of no accountability, like Ken's my friend that's like, Ken's the whole reason the podcast even got reborn, because he was like, that was pretty good. I don't understand why you're not doing that. So anyways, here is Kurt. This is Okinawa police cruiser.
That's a Toyota. That's a Toyota Camry, Steve. That's a Camry.
So that police is not Okinawan. I don't read so good, but that's English. So
yeah, it says police. What's with that super high light bar though? Whoa.
I don't know. Maybe there's someone in there like riding a bike to make it go around.
Yeah, I've never seen a Camry police car, but I imagine it's a 6-cylinder. Probably moves pretty decent. So
yeah, just trying to,
6-cylinder.
You're just being nice. Yeah, that looks pretty badass.
When you see that Camry behind you, you go, "Oh my gosh!"
It's the bad boys.
What's happening here? So, yeah. What was I going to say? I was going to say something important. I can't remember now, Steve.
That's my fault.
So I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Matt Deuce says hello.
I'm happy to come. It was fun to come on. And I think, I'm going to keep doing the interviews, putting them up as soon as I can. Ken is going to be over at Police Applicant. I can't stress enough. Really fun podcast. Christine is, she's doing a great job. She's really hanging in there. She's doing a good job. She just is kind of natural at it. She's inquisitive naturally, and you guys play off each other really well. And I'm enjoying it as just a consumer of it, but everybody should hang over there and check it out. And Ken, your background service is still going on, policebackground.net. And what are your rates at?
You know what? It's interesting. I raised the rates to $135 per consultation, which is pretty inexpensive for what I do. But I have as many customers as I had before when I had the lower price. So business is doing very, very good, and people still want to be cops. And I do the consultations there. Plus, I get a lot of people who listen to the podcast from here and from the Police Applicant podcast too. But yeah, Christine's doing a really, really good job. You know what's interesting about Christine?
Yes.
Is we told her we were going to do this podcast. I'm going to call her out on this. Where is she?
Oh, yeah. Mean Christine. It's pretty mean.
Christine's
she's not
like
here.
And then Brittany Olson's not here either.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I sense that people put work ahead of the podcast. I know.
They tried to get the day off. Their boss said no, and then then they kept their job. Like they didn't quit. I don't know. I think they probably should have quit, but yeah, we'll have to get on Christine and say where you are. She might be taking a nap or something. But yeah, this is a good time, and we've had people hanging in here almost the whole time. Where do we at? Over an hour now, and our beloved fans wanted to hang out with us. We love hanging out with you guys. Just flapping our gums. So awesome. Well, I'm gonna wrap it just like the podcast. If nobody has anything else to say.
Nobody? You don't have anything else to say, guys?
Bueller? No? Okay. Well, I guess they're silent. Ken, thanks for hanging with me, man. I miss you.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a good time. And Steve and I we still talk about the 3-4 times a week, just for absolutely no reason. That's what friends do. And yeah, we'll be back in some form or another and having a good time. Good to see you guys. Love you guys a lot, and thanks for hanging in here with us. And just as we shoot the breeze.
Yes, love you guys, and we'll catch you later.
Yeah, bye everybody.